Hi guys, my name is Crystal and welcome to my YouTube channel. Welcome old subscribers and welcome new. If you like my videos, please press the like button. If you like them even more, please subscribe. Alexa, what's the time please?
The time is 8:49 a.m.
Alexa, what's the date today?
Today is Friday the 12th of August.
And Alexa, the weather forecast?
Right now in Rochester, it's 20 degrees Celsius with clear skies and sun. Throughout the day, you can expect more of the same, with a high of 30 degrees and a low of 17 degrees.
So right guys, I've woken up this morning feeling sluggish. By sluggish, it means that I didn't want to get up this morning. I didn't want to get out of bed. I feel slow, I feel tired, and I feel just like I just don't want to do anything. It's really hot again. Last night it felt like it was getting towards the other heat wave we had. I was very hot. I kept getting up and down out of bed, going into the bathroom and trying to cool myself down. I do like it. Obviously we don't want the weather to be nasty and horrible. It's been like this for quite some time now. It's just, I just need a bit of like fresh air, cool air, Right, so this morning I fed my two cats, I fed Max, and I've made myself a lovely cup of coffee and I'm having some Frosties. Now my mum gave me a ginormous box of Frosties yesterday. I don't know how much these are, but so I've just poured some Frosties out of this 1 kilogram Kellogg's Frosty box. Okay, it's massive. I mean, even if I run out of food, I can eat cereal every day, you know what I mean? So along with my chocolate Weetabix, I've got Kellogg's lovely Frosties. And my mum gave me some cat and dog food yesterday, so I've got some pedigree chum and I've got some Whiskers, and she gave me a couple of meals, and I've got a nice bag of popcorn here, Butterkiss popcorn. So I suppose in a way it's good when you're not given money, but someone gives you food and helps me out with the cats and the dog's pet food and cat litter, then I don't keep wandering into shops. My mum mentioned charity shops yesterday, that my mum Jennifer, my dad used to take my mum Jennifer down Chatham High Street, especially when I first came down, and took my mum into all the charity shops. But my mum doesn't go out very much now. She's indoors by herself. So I really haven't got much money. The cost of living has gone right through the roof, and the energy bills are so high, that I can't afford myself to go into charity shops very much now either. So I haven't been into a charity shop for a while. Normally I get a repeat prescription every month for Boots in Strood, and then maybe I'll pop into the Cancer Research charity shop and get some bits from there, but at the moment, no. So today I'm probably indoors. It's very hot, but I've got my own things that I do. Last night I actually did a crisscross. I did one of those crisscrosses before I went to bed, one of these, right, and it was all about the sea, all the sea. So I finished that. So this is what I did as a child and as a teenager before I got married. Spent a lot of time indoors doing puzzles, doing my poetry, and I even wrote songs. and things like that. I've just never been given the chance to prove myself, to actually be somebody, and I'm a bit older now, and I know people say that age doesn't matter, but as you get older, you're not so agile, you're not so fit as when you were in your 20s, so it's just a shame that a lot of my talents have gone to waste. I know I'm living in a lovely flat. It is lovely, it is big. And some people haven't got a roof over their heads, so I'm very, very grateful. But this is what sexual abuse does. This is what, child cruelty does. This is what it does to children. That it stunts their growth as adults. It prevents them reaching their full potential, and it stops them becoming somebody. And that is exactly what's happened to me, and I believe to my mother, because she's older than me. She's 22 years older, because she had me when she was 22. She's just sat indoors all day doing nothing, because my father controlled my mum, and he controlled me as well. So me and my mum are just sat indoors all day, just mainly doing nothing, because we can't get rid of the control that was over us. And my mum is nearly 80 now, and no one has really helped my mother. The police did nothing. When they came out, they didn't deal with my dad. They didn't deal with him. When the police came out to me, I was told the person's had a hard day. They didn't listen to me. They didn't do anything about anything. And I'm still being controlled. Now, my mum, the control doesn't go away because the perpetrator dies. You've got to get yourself out of the cycle that they were doing. So if you've never learned to mix with people, you've never learned to interact, because perpetrators isolate you on purpose because they don't want people to know they're abusing you. So it's not that you haven't got friends, you haven't got anybody. They've isolated you from people because they don't want you to tell them what they've done or are doing. Another thing is financial abuse. They take away your money, or they make you spend more money than you should, so you're left with nothing. So you can't go out to shops to buy anything. You can't go out and do anything and mix with people again. So there's financial abuse, there's mental abuse. You're smelly, you're stinky, you're no good, I'm better than you. And showing off, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm going there. When they've taken everything off of you, including your self-respect and self-esteem, and then they go off and prance about while you're stuck indoors with nothing. And they have a problem, they're not very well, they're not mentally very well. But it makes them feel better if they're treading on somebody. And to stand up to an abuser is very difficult because some of them are very, very violent. And, if you start to speak up for yourself and you start to argue the toss with them, some of them will punch you and hit you. A woman, they will punch their wife, they will punch their girlfriend. Or in certain circumstances, children become abusive and a child will punch its mother. And that's the truth, and that's what goes on. And in schools, an abusive child will hit a teacher. It is learnt behaviour. A child somewhere across the line has learnt how to be abusive. And they go on to hit and abuse adults because they've seen parents or somebody in their family do it. Right? Abuse knows no boundaries. It goes into the upper class, the lower class, even homeless. Right? It's evil, it's nasty, but until police and social services, schools are actually trained properly to look out for signs of abuse in a child that's been neglected and abused. This will still go on, right? In the 60s and the 70s and the 80s, when it was happening to me, you weren't allowed to speak about it. It was hush hush. Now it's all out in the open, right? I wasn't allowed to speak about it. I was threatened. Okay, I went to school and I had a hard life because not only was I being bullied at home by my father, I was being bullied at school because I wouldn't speak. And I wasn't shy, and I'm not shy now. It's just you're frightened to be yourself. You can't be yourself while you're being abused. And I can't be myself now. And I'm 53. And I'm not a child. I don't need a taxi driver telling me off like I'm a 2-year-old. Right? And, you know, my mum's my mum. I don't want to spend every day with my mother. I'm an adult. Alright? And it defeats the object, right? If I need to be supervised and looked after, can you tell me why I'm on my own in my flat almost 7 days a week? Being told that I can't look after myself and I'm just left alone. Sometimes with no money, and at Lansdowne Court, I'll be quite honest, I was left alone with no money and no food to eat. And someone telling you to be good, what does that mean when you have no money and no food? You know, I've been in such a state financially sometimes because of certain circumstances that I've had to eat pot noodles, just dry pot noodles, because I don't even, you know, when you're depressed you don't even like putting water in them, do you? Just sat there, just rifling around the flat, finding old bags of crisps and old pot noodles. Now it's different, because I'm in a bigger flat, and when I get depressed I don't just sit there, I've got a dog to take for a walk, so that's helpful, right? But it's not funny. Until someone actually stops these abusers, it will go on. And while we've got some male policemen that actually think it's okay for a man to hit a woman, and some police officers are doing it to their own wives, so they are, because abuse knows no bounds. Abusers can be police officers, judges, they can even be in the church, right? It knows no bounds. After all, a man in a suit is just a human being, like anybody else, like you and me. Just because they wear a uniform, it doesn't make them any different, right? Until this is stopped, my life is going to be the same, right? It won't stop. It's not me. I'm being controlled.